So welcome everyone to the fifth reporters call. We're just going to be going over a few updates about where we're at in terms of the many things that we're doing that interact with the reporter software. So to begin, we have a few integrations that we're just working on. Diva protocol, which is a prediction market. Good things to know is that we have successfully settled derivatives pools. That is their terminology. I don't know the exact specifics of prediction markets, but basically we've reported some basic data for them, basically like the price of ETH USD. And there's just like a few other changes that need to be made because they have contracts that they need you to interact with. So yeah, if you want to check out those updates in PyTelliot core and whatnot, if you're developing your own client software, Crossy. And then, yeah, the other thing is Fuse, which is actually pretty cool. They deployed TellerFlex on their own network and been working with one of their developers to get reporters up for them. They're going to be, I think, running it just as like a dev team to start off with, reporting data. I don't know exactly what they need, but we have successfully reported some data for them after their dev walked me through their protocol. The other thing is Morphware. We're just kind of refining the query data and query ID, some of the information there. They just have like a lot of data that they need on chain, the spot prices of AWS instance types, because their whole project or service is to essentially provide decentralized machine learning compute. And so they need the price of AWS compute instances to help like determine pricing and rewards for their compute providers. The other things that we're doing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So for Diva protocol and for Diva protocol, like basically what we do is like we push the data on chain and they pull it into their contract.
Yeah, so we push it on chain and then someone has to go and they have a separate contract deployed called like Teller Oracle, Teller Diva Oracle. And this is essentially like settling the pool. It grabs the latest value for a specific reference asset for that pool, and then it pushes it to their contracts, I believe.
Okay. So they're the ones pulling the data from us. Perfect.
But I don't think that they're going to be the ones calling the function that pushes that data over that completely settles the pool. I think that's going to have to be the reporter. Which is why we built out like just doing it manually.
Okay, perfect.
The other thing too is we're kind of like onboarding more devs to the PyTelliot side, and Lauren is working on adding price feeds for BCT, which is base carbon something. It's for Toucan protocol, I guess. What was that, Spuddy?
The base carbon ton, like
base carbon ton.
Carbon, it's like a unit of carbon emissions or something.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So this is good because with the current reporting software, it rotates through our different active queries that we have. So if you're using our client software, and hopefully if you're using your own, you're rotating through and just keeping our current supported queries, like keeping the data more live, I guess. Anyway, so we're working on that, and this will be good for ETH Denver because people in hackathon projects, like if they're going to use us like as an Oracle and they want to add a spot price, we're just kind of refining how you do that and making it easier for them. The other thing is we've handled some bugs. There's been some more, which is good. People are getting into the habit of like opening issues within GitHub for us. And so I would say expect a new release by the end of this week, handling some of those latest ones. I've basically just been busy with the integration stuff. So the other thing that's been brought up, I mean, it was brought up in like the town hall, meeting, and it's something that we've been talking about in the past, is you have this dynamic on Ethereum mainnet where it's just like very rough for new people. They have like this idea that, okay, you know, I can go report on Teller and make some money. But the reality is that, like, if you want to be competitive, you have to be a gnarly software engineer. And that's not everyone. And so maybe going forward, I was talking with Tim about this too. And it's just like, this is just up for discussion, no promises or anything. We could experiment with like having a balance of where we have, and this is like coming out of too, like people wanting pools. Like we're not going to do pools, but I think that sentiment is coming from this fact that it's just like they want more opportunities to participate. And this could be something like that, where it's essentially like community led, like, okay, we have these people who have reported values in the past. They would just like this more like a more stable guarantee that they can report values for reward. And we could do this since we're getting, more users and stuff. And we could have, even like a percentage of reporting, which is just done the normal way, where it's just this like time-based competition. And then you can also have like a, contracts that we can experiment with, payment contracts. You can check out, I think we're wrapping up the auto pay contract, which is going to be the basis for this, for like people setting up payments with Teller Flex essentially. So like you could have the community really like whitelist like a few addresses. So you're getting like a sort of proof of humanity where, you're not going to like whitelist 10 addresses from one person. You can do it like for each member of like a community member, essentially. I don't know. That would just be like something that we could talk about more in Discord, ideally. Yeah, that's basically it from me. Tally's not here, but we're still continuing work on Algorand. He left some. What? Next slide.
Yeah.
You guys see things?
It's glitching out.
It is glitching out. I see like
We still see the reporter update slide.
let me share again. Okay,
There
good.
we go.
Cool. Yeah, so these are just some updates from Tally, and I believe Krem is working on this as well. Algorand. Yeah, so looks like we're ready to go on testnet. And they're still working on testing for security. And then there's going to be some changes like in our reporting software, because Algorand has like different transaction types than EVM based chains. So yeah, and there would be a lot of documentation needed for, setting that up if we're going to have people reporting over there. I don't exactly know. I'm pretty sure like the basis of like Algorand is like, we have like a grant, and that's why we're setting up Teller Flex over there. So I don't know how it's going to work. Like if there are going to be opportunities to like report over there, or if it's just going to be like their dev team, like set up reporting. Anyway, so that's Algorand. Anyone have any comments, thoughts, questions?
Just a quick question. So the cycling through of the data points that you currently have for PyTelliot, does that automatic? So if someone requests a new data type, does that automatically get thrown in, or is there a new process, or like does it have to go with the new release, or?
Yeah, so yeah, it has to be in the new release essentially. So I mean, they're like, you can get the latest and greatest software if you clone the repository and like pull down from main, or you can just like wait for the release and install things from the Python package index. Basically, like we have in data specs, like where we define all of our current queries that we're supporting, like all of our users, like they want a specific type of data, they define it in the data specs repository. And within that, there's a catalog that has like each of our actively supported ones. So we have like a spot price query type, And there's like several of those that we currently support, like ETHUSD and whatnot. And so the base carbon ton in USD will be another spot price that is added essentially to that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, not a question, but a thought on reporter profitability in the future. I think there's going to be opportunities for people paying attention because, as integrations become live, there's going to be data points that reporters who haven't updated can't provide, and now we're going to be on different chains, and all of this stuff is changing a lot. So for people who stay up to date and they pay attention and they know what integrations are going live and what data is needed and what rewards are getting paid for that data, I think there's definitely going to be some opportunities in the future.
Yeah. I mean, the Diva protocol one is pretty exciting because like that theoretically is like Teller, like any kind of data, it's not just like spot prices where it's like very easy to automate and whatnot. It's like, oh, who's going to win UFC 270, whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like the story arc of any, of Teller mining, like since the beginning of Teller, every time there's a big change, people who understand how to run the newest version of the software always have a bit of an advantage. So if anybody watching this wants to get involved, and you feel like, oh, I can't make a profit, why would I do this? Well, you might, if you have time to pay attention and follow along with what we're doing, it might create an opportunity for you in the future.
Good point. Yeah, and then also just in general, if people want this just like in a text-based, like, okay, here's the reporter updates within Discord instead of like this like recorded call format, that can work too. So just let us know. That's it for me.